Okay, so this is our quiz review for tomorrow. A couple things about the quiz. It is going to look just like this review. In fact, this first page is almost identical, except that I rearranged the order of all of the equations over here on the side. So the list of properties will stay the same, but this list here is going to be in a different order, but it's the same stuff. So if you can remember what equation or what example goes with each property, then you should be in pretty good shape. And then when it comes to the equations and stuff that we have to solve in the rest of the quiz, they're the same type of equations. I just changed the numbers around a little bit. So this looks very much like the quiz you'll take tomorrow. All right, so I know that you are not feeling real confident about some of these properties, but some of them you should be able to identify fairly easily. There are some of them that should stand out. So, and there's some key words too. It kills me when I'm grading this thing and somebody like this property has the word addition in it. And if somebody chooses something that has multiplication going on over here, that just kind of hurts my feelings that you don't pay that much attention. Okay, so if it has the word addition or multiplication, that's a pretty big clue. It's going to rule out some things, right? So I think a good place to start is distributive, either distributive property or associative property, because both of those are going to use parentheses. And so you can't have distributive property or associative property unless there are parentheses in the example. So let's find one of the first one on the list. Well, first one on the list here is distributive property. What do you think the distributive property looks like? Anybody? Hey, I kind of did that on accident. Okay, so 5 times 3x would be 15x, and 5 times a minus 6y would be minus 30y. We've just distributed that 5 through the parentheses. And so that one works. A is the distributive property. Okay. Associative property of multiplication. There's that word of multiplication. So I want to find something that has parentheses and multiplication going on. This last one here has parentheses, but it's got addition. It can't be that one. That's not multiplication, right? So which one does it have to be? I. I is associative property. Remember that associative property has to have parentheses. And we've changed the grouping. It is the x and the 5 here grouped on this side. Over here it's the 5 and the 2 grouped. So we've changed the grouping. That's associative property. So that is I. All right, cross that one off the list. There should be another associative property of addition. So what's that one going to be? M. It's got parentheses. It's got addition. It changes the grouping of the items in the parentheses. So associative property of addition should be M on this list. Okay. So that one is fairly simple. Think about a couple another. I think another one would be that you should be able to pick out fairly easily might be identity properties. Okay, identity property of multiplication. What do I have to multiply by? What number do I multiply by to find the identity property? You have to multiply by 1. So find something that's multiplying by 1. J. Okay, negative 32 times 1 equals negative 32. That's the identity property of multiplication. So what about the identity property of addition? You got to add 0.
Oh, no,
C. Add. You actually see the plus 0. That's the additive identity. Okay, we're adding 0, so that's got to be it. It's C. So cross off J too. I forgot to cross that one off. Okay, multiplicative property of 0. What are you looking for there?
What?
Multiplicative property of 0. I'm on number 6.
G.
Okay, you got to multiply by 0. It's got to equal 0. That's the multiplicative property of 0. So that one should be fairly easy to pick out. So find the ones that are easy to pick out. Then after you get maybe those first 5 or 6 picked out, then you've narrowed your choices down. You've got, you're going to have a lot better chance if you get down here to where you start guessing. There's some other keywords that hopefully you can pick out. Again, we have a commutative property. We have 2 of those, one of addition, one of multiplication. What was the key word with commutative property? Order. So we want things that are the same numbers, but they're changed the order from one side of the equation to the other. So, and we want something with addition. So this one has multiplication. That can't be it. H, 11 plus 7 equals 7 plus 11. That would be the commutative property of addition, H. So what about commutative property of multiplication? B, it's got 4D12 and then 12 4D. It's got the same three terms, it just changes the order. So that's got to be it. It's multiplying, so that's B. Okay, now what is an inverse?
The opposite.
Opposite, yeah.
It's the
Reciprocal. That's the word we probably use more often than inverse, but they've kind of changed the vocabulary a little bit in math. Inverse and reciprocal mean the same thing. So which one has an inverse? L, inverse property of addition. Yeah, inverse property of addition is L because we're adding it's the additive inverse. Now so inverse and reciprocal, I was kind of thinking of the other one. So that one would be L. You want to add two things together to get 0 with that inverse addition property. What about the inverse property of multiplication? That's the one I was thinking of a minute ago. I didn't take my own advice. D, because we've got a reciprocal and it equals 1. That's the inverse property of multiplication. So D. All right, now we get down to those last three that are kind of the weird ones that it's like, let me cross off the ones we've already used. We've used L and M, so we should only have 3 left over here. We've used this one. Okay, so E, F, and G, or E, F, and K, sorry. So what does the word reflexive make you think of? What word kind of sounds like reflexive? Reflect. And so reflect is like you put something up in a mirror, you see the exact image of what you see, right? So it's got to be F. F is the reflexive property because it's the exact same thing on both sides. It's just reflecting itself across the equal sign. That's all that means. It reflects itself across the equal sign. So F is the reflexive property. Okay. Symmetric and transitive. Transitive, do you know what a transient is? Somebody who goes from place to place to place. They don't settle down and stay in one spot, and so they move from spot to spot to spot. So we're looking for something with a bunch of spots, a bunch of places to move. Okay, K. If A, then B. If B, then C, and then A equals C. So that's the transitive property. It moves from place to place. It keeps going down the line. And then that leaves one, the symmetric property, and that just folds back on itself. If X equals Y, then Y has to equal X. All right. So same order of properties on your list. I didn't change the order of properties, but I did change the order of the examples. So you just need to make sure you get which example goes with which property. Evaluate each expression, show each step, identify any property used. So we've got to show the steps, identify the properties. Is this the same? All this is the same for yours, right? I haven't opened the wrong document, have I? Everything's good?
Yeah.
Okay. What about this page? I just had this
Yeah.
2 times 6 on the bottom.
Yeah.
Okay. For some reason, I had this panic moment that I thought, is this one different?
No.
Is it right? I had this panic moment that maybe I saved the wrong, because I underlined some stuff like in the direct. Is yours underlined? Like show every step?
Yeah. And first one.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So maybe I didn't. Okay. I knew I had done that in the directions, but I thought I did it in more places. So I had this panic moment that I was showing you the actual quiz, which just meant I was going to have to change it again. But anyway,
Again?
well, I mean, I had the quiz and then I changed it to make the study guide.
Oh, I thought this happened.
And if I showed you the quiz, then I would have to change the quiz again. Okay. Sorry, I got sidetracked. Sorry for you people listening on the recording too. That didn't make any sense. All right, so what do I do first here?
The parentheses.
Parentheses first. So show every step 7 times 1 times 1/7. So now, what property was that? We didn't just get rid of the parentheses. We actually did the operation. I did 1 plus 0. When I do 1 plus 0, what is that? Additive identity. Okay? So we did additive identity. Identity property of addition, additive identity, same thing. So additive identity. Next, 7 times 1.
7.
7 times 1 is 7. So what property is that? Multiplicative identity. Multiplicative identity. I'm okay with abbreviating a little bit, but make sure your abbreviations are still things that I can understand. Don't just put MI. That could be multiplicative inverse, right? Make sure that I understand your abbreviations. And then 7 times 1/7 is, oops, not 7. 1. And what is that? Multiplicative inverse. So, okay. Few more steps on this one, but it'll be okay. First of all, note, well, we do have one piece of multiplication here, but basically everything's addition. So what I need to start with, parentheses here, right? And then what about this set of parentheses? There's nothing we can do in there, but there's nothing outside of these parentheses. So do we even need the parentheses? Okay, so if I'm going to drop those parentheses out, what is that? If I get rid of parentheses, what property do I use? Associative property. And then if I inside these parentheses, order of operations tell me I have to add from left to right, so I need to do 6 plus 4x, but I can't do that. So I have to put the 5 in front of the 4x. What property is that if I change that? Order, that's commutative property. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to do 2 things in my first step, and I'm going to label both properties. So 2 times 6 plus 5 plus 4x plus 7 plus 5 plus 2x. So I use commutative property and associative property. Please be careful how you abbreviate associative property. Don't just label it the first 3 letters. It'll hurt my feelings if you do that on the test. All right. Next, I can just simplify some things here, right? I can do 2 times 11 plus 4x. That's all I've done is simplify. 7 plus 5 is 12. I can add these because they're not affected by what's in the parentheses. So plus 12 plus 2x. So all I've done there is simplify. Now what do I need to do here? Multiply. What property is that when I multiply through parentheses? Distributive property. So 22 plus, plus 8x plus 12 plus 2x. That was distributive property. Now I need to put like terms next to each other so that I can perform the operation. So 22 plus 12 plus 8x plus 2x. What was that? Commutative property. And then that would be 34 plus 10x. And that was just simplifying. Okay. Okay, so guys, this first page is all about properties. Order of operations a little bit here with these last 2, but mainly about properties. one of the things I like this unit, I like this chapter, I like everything about this. My only regret is that this is our first major quiz because I know a lot of you are just the idea of memorizing all this stuff or getting through this is kind of causing you to panic. It's going to be okay. If you miss every one of these on the quiz tomorrow, it's going to be okay. Your grade will look stinky for a few days. We'll get you through it. It'll be okay. All right? It's not the end of the world. Here we go. All right. Order of operations. I need to zoom in a little bit better so we can see that. So this is all about order of operations. Show every step. I'm okay with you using a calculator on the quiz for the purpose of just doing the operations or multiplying. But if you just type all this into the calculator and you put an answer down, you're going to miss a bunch of points because showing every step is what I'm looking at. Right? So I want to see you show the steps. So what's first here? Got to do the exponents first. So it'd be 3 times 25 minus 4 times 5. And then I can go ahead and multiply on the bottom. 2 times 6 is 12. Okay? Then I need to do 3 times 25, which is 75, minus 4 times 5, which is 20, over 12. And then I didn't do a very good job on this one, making it something that'll simplify. So 55 over 12. And I'm okay with you leaving it like that. If it comes out as an improper fraction, this is not a unit on simplifying fractions. So if you leave it as an improper fraction, I'm totally fine with that answer. I think the one on the quiz will come out a little neater than that one. I didn't do a good job of rewriting this problem. Okay? We good there? All right, what do we do first on number 17? Parentheses on top, exponents on bottom. Got to do those in the right order. So 1 plus 5 is 6 times 6. And then on bottom, you'd have 2 times 16 plus, and you can go ahead and multiply that 2 times 2 plus 4. Okay? So then it would be 36 on top over 32 plus 4, which is 36 over 36, which is 1. I got that one to come out right. Okay, that's what I mean by showing every step. I know you guys could have, you could have got to 36 real easy on this in one step, but show me that step, okay? I want to see every step. Don't know how many times I need to say the word step. Show me every one of them. Step up. All right, what do we do first on 18?
No,
Parentheses here. So I can do 3 times 3 minus 5 plus. Can I go ahead and do the 2 squared? Yep, I can go ahead and do the 2 squared. Actually, I could have done the 3 minus 5 too. 4 times 7. So I'm okay with any, like I said, we could have, it's okay to do these things, multiple steps at a time when they're of equal value in the order of operations. Just don't combine steps that you should keep separate, even though you can do them in your head. So this one, it's okay to go ahead and do 3 minus 5 because it doesn't affect what's going on right here. So 3 times negative 2 plus 28. And then I'm okay if you can solve these however you want to do. If you want to do distributive property here, that'd be a little weird, I think. But if you wanted to, you could do it. Or if you want to combine these terms next, that'd be fine too. So negative 2 plus 28 would be 26. And then 3 times 26 should be 78. All right, distributed property. Show me the steps. I know that most of you probably are comfortable enough, and after this quiz, I won't make you show the steps anymore. But this quiz, you need to show the steps. You need to show me the 3 times 4x plus 3 times 8. And then show me the plus 7 times 8x. And then we'd have a plus 7 times a minus 5. So that would be plus 7 times a minus 5. $12x plus 24 plus 56x, and then a plus times a minus would be a minus 35. 12x and 56x would be 68x. And then 35 minus 24 is 11, so minus 11. It's not simplified until you have no like terms and no parentheses. Good? Okay. And then this bad boy, you got extra terms here. You got to watch this minus sign here as well. So it's 5 times 2x squared plus 5 times 4x plus 5 times minus 11. And then a minus 4 times a 4x and a minus 4 times a minus 5. So 10x squared plus 20x minus 55 minus 16x. Say that again. Try one more time. Plus 20. Minus 4 times a minus 5 would be a plus 20. That right there, that is the most common mistake that we'll see in distributed property. I mean, that's probably half the points that get lost on distributed property are from that scenario right there. All right, so 10x squared, 20x minus 16x would be 4x, so plus 4x. And then a minus 55 and a plus 20 would be minus 35. No like terms, no parentheses, so this one is simplified. Okay, any questions? Are you feeling any kind of confidence about the quiz tomorrow? Not really. Some of you are like, yeah, this is going to suck. Well, it might, but that's okay. I promise I'll get you through it. Okay.